Good afternoon, everybody. This is Daniel with Peace and Plenty Farms. I'm going to bring you up to speed on what I've been doing these last couple of days. Mainly it's the fence, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Ingrid's little Envoy here has a misfire in it. So I went on YouTube and tried to search around for typical causes of misfire. Misfire is a very difficult thing to trace out and to find. And a lot of them had spark plug problems or coil pack problems, but I know that these are good because I just replaced all the spark plugs and I just replaced all the coil packs. But I decided to do all 6 of the injectors, so I'm taking this down to that right now. I went ahead and pulled all of the coil packs because I wanted to check the rocker arm cover gasket to see if there was oil leaking down and fouling out the plug. But that's all nice and dry. You want to be sure and check your oil. That can actually throw a code and give you a misfire. We're going to need a new air filter for this. But one of the things that I learned when I was doing this is a ratchet. This is a 3/8 ratchet. The square end of it fits into the here I've got this one into the belt tensioner. See it running down? It fits right into this. There's a space in there that the ratchet fits into, and that's how I pulled on that to get the belt off. And I never had known that before, so I thought I'd let you know about that 3/8 square. You don't need a socket or anything. It's just exactly the size of that 3/8 ratchet. And then I could pull it over and take the belt off, because you have to take the alternator off to get to the front bolt on the intake manifold. There's one bolt in the front right there. The bolt that's in the back, the one that's in the very back of this intake manifold right back there, the way you get to that one is through here. You pull this rubber flap out of the way right here, and you just use a really long extension. Right through here is how you get that difficult bolt out of the back. Now I went ahead and took the computer out, and I'm about to take this metal brace off. There's a bolt one bolt in the bottom to get this bracket right here out, and then I'll be able to reach the bolts along the intake, and it's 1, 2, and then 1, and then 2, and then 1, 2, and then 1, something like that. So I'll be able to get those out, and then I'll be able to reach the injectors down there and get those changed out. But got the alternator out. This fuel line has to come off also, so you'll need to pull that. And I found it's best just to pull all the wiring harness out of the way, just get it out of the way. And so that's how that's going. She had a problem with this left rear tire right here. She said it was wobbling. The back of the car was wobbling. So I took the tire off. It's laying out here. And you can see how out of whack that tire is right there. I don't know if you see the tread is actually curved right there, and this is bulged up. You can see how dry rotted it is right here. And this is a Michelin. But okay, so we'll get some tires for that, no big deal. We've been working on the fence. That's the main thing I've been working on lately. But I wanted to show you this colony situation over here. These silkies are getting into the pig food. The pigs don't like it when they catch them in there eating their food. They give them a hard time, but the pigs are over here sleeping right now. The copper Marans are out. They're doing really well with this, what I call the diving board, which is this board right here. They jump up onto that. They'll come in, and then there's a walk board right there going down, and their food is in here. So they can access their own food and their own water, and the pigs or the goats or whatever's in there won't knock it over. But they've figured it out. They go right up this ramp, and of course there's the entrance to their coop, and then the what I call the diving board and the tunnel that's up high. Now this, I just put this in today for the rabbits. so that they can come in and have their own J feeder food right here. So I don't know if they're going to find this on their own or if I'm going to have to catch them and put them in there. But we'll figure that out. Right now, they've got... I'm going to turn the fence off for a second. I want to take you in here. Well, those pigs are really lounging around today. They sleep a lot. Wow, they sleep a lot. The goats, I've never seen the goats sleep. I've come out here at 2 in the morning to check on things and just look around, and the goats are never sleeping. The pigs, they sleep all the time. Those Moran chickens, they sure are a beautiful chicken. And I just looked it up because they should have been laying eggs by now. And they say 7 to 9 months old before heritage chickens start to lay eggs. So I was expecting eggs at 5 or 6 months, but we've got 3 more months. And then it's going to be, you know, December. That's when they'll be old enough. And I think the days will be too short and too cold. So it might be next spring before they start laying eggs. Now, I don't know if you can see, we might have to, yeah, I'm going to go in there and check and make sure everything's all right with these little guys. I don't see much movement. I hope they're okay. But you can see right there, the little rabbit. Oh yeah, I see a leg moving. Let's go in there and check them out, see how it's going. These, see how many we have. They're old enough where we should be able to check on them by now. So I didn't want the rabbits to have their babies in here, but they went ahead and started digging and planting and all that. She's checking on me. Can you see her there? Yeah, you can see her. She's like, "What are you doing?" They know that I'm here to, but you can see the little babies laying down there. This phone on this, I'm trying to get the shadow out, but where you can still see the, there we go. Boy, they're getting big. And there's a bunch of them in here. Oh my goodness. Ooh, look at that. Boy, they're going crazy. I don't know how many she had, but she had a bunch of them. I like to check and, you know, make sure that they're all alive. There's not a dead one down in there that the flies are getting into or something. So I like to, even though it upsets her, I like to be sure that everybody's okay. And there's a lot of little rabbits in there. She's upset about what's going on. Let's just leave her alone. It looks okay. I worry about the flies. When I see a lot of flies around, it can mean that there's one dead one in there. So I wanted to do a quick check on that. And I'm not collecting the eggs out of the. Let's see if I can show you this. I'm not collecting the eggs out of the silky coop. I thought I would see if maybe they might go broody again. I'm gonna put this egg in there and put them together. I'd like to see if one of the other hens might go broody, where the shadows are really long. You can tell fall's coming. The shadows are long, and let's walk over. Now you can see with this, the way I've got this chain, it leaves a little opening in the bottom for the silkies to go in right through there, and it keeps the pigs out. If the pigs got in there, they would knock over that whole coop and everything. I picked up some treated plywood when I was at Lowe's, nearly $50 a sheet, and I'm going to build the pigs some shelters out of these concrete blocks. So you're going to use these concrete blocks and build them another. The silkies are so funny. If the pigs were awake, they would chase them out of that pig food. You all get out of there. What I'm going to do is, I've got this FEMA camp number 1, I call it, but I've got an access hole just on the other side of this gate, and the silkies can actually access the free range out here. There is a road right there, and the driveway's right there, but I'm going to let the silkies start going outside, and so they're not eating the pig food and all of that. But we've got to separate the rabbits out of there, and we've got to get the little silkies that we hatched over here, get them in there. So it's going to be some shuffling around here in about a month or so, waiting for these silky chicks to get a little bit older. Let's go over and see how they're doing, because you haven't seen those in a while, and they are getting big. So we started out with 13, and she sat on 2 of them, and I gave away 2 of them, so we have 9. So we'd like to get as many hens as possible out of these. We'll see what the odds are, how we do this time. I haven't, I wanted to show you one other quick thing in the barn here. Then I want to show you the fence. So I ordered one of these T-post drivers. It's a gas-powered T-post driver, and a buddy of mine has one. I went over to his farm, and I got to use it, and it drove the T-post down real nice, fast. So I decided to order one of those, since I had quite a few T-posts to put in myself. That thing will not work. Cannot get it to go. The gasoline part of it runs. It starts up, it runs, it warms up fine, but when you put it on top of the post, it just sits on top of the post and kind of hisses and whatnot. It won't bounce and hammer. Occasionally it will, but most of the time it won't. So I'm actually having to drive them all by hand. And here's the wire. I've got 2 rolls right here, and you've seen the trailer that I built right here. This little trailer, it's got some bearings in there. They're like turntable bearings, and that way this whole entire roll just turns on here. If I had both hands, I could turn it, but this will roll out on, and we'll be able to put the fence up. There it goes. It's heavy. I've got it down tight too. I've got these. I had metal. Those of you that have seen this before, I had metal cable running down through here, but I ended up switching it out for these ratchet straps, because I'm thinking as I'm unrolling, this is going to drop pretty quick because the roll is so tall. So I went with the ratchet straps, so that if as I need to, I can just right in the field just tighten this whole top section down a little bit. And when I originally built it, this was a 6x6, and you can see that I had to go back and cut 45s on it, and then I put 45s and chamfered the top of it and belt sanded it so that it slides onto the roll really easy. And of course the whole thing tilts. This whole plywood thing tilts over. You just unlatch it right there, and the whole thing tilts over, and then you can slide the 6x6 into the roll. The roll would be laying on the ground. You just slide the 6x6 in there, and then stand it up, and then rehook it to the tractor. It works out fine loading it. Now it'll be interesting to see once we start, pulling the wire out. We've got, I think, altogether 5 rolls to do. I've driven 300 of the T-posts so far by hand. I had to take today off and let my shoulders and back rest. And Ingrid's Envoy was giving her trouble, so I said, well, let me turn wrenches on her Envoy today and let my back rest. So you can see Sophie and Hannah right there. They are eating and sunning themselves. And you can see the fence going across right there, the property line. And I've actually got it from the other side of the barn. So the barn's right there. I've got all the T-posts in all the way down the road, the dirt road that we live on, and then it turns and comes through the tree line, and then you can see the T-post coming right across there. And now 95, the state has already put up a fence up there, but I went ahead and ran another set of T-posts every 10 foot all the way through there. That way I can put the electric fence on. So it'll be just the electric fence on the back, but I'll have the sheep and goat wire fence and the electric fence all the way around here. So we have approximately, it's kind of weird. We paid for almost 8 acres, but because of the setbacks that we get from 95 and from the power line that's over here and from the dirt road, it actually seems much bigger than it really is. And so this is our wooded area, our buffer zone, and the T-posts go all the way through to the back side of our property, and then it turns and comes up towards the house right over here, and then back to the garden. It ends up over here on the back corner of this garden. And then we're going to pick it up again right here. We're going to pick it up on this T-post right here. This T-post right here. We're going to start again, and we're going to go down to here, and then we'll have a gate right here for the dam to access road the property, and then the fence will go right across here, and then it'll come back up right here, and it'll tie back into the chicken coop, and then from the chicken coop it'll tie back into the barn. So that'll give them, I guess that's probably going to be at least 5 or 6 acres for them to graze and to go up into the woods. And there'll be another section inside the woods for the pigs. It'll just be a smaller electric fence, and then the sheep will have all of this. The sheep and goats can have all of this area out here. Wow. So I hope you can follow along with all that. It's a lot. But the T-posts are in all the way up to the, almost up to the back of the house on the far edge over there. And I just need to come from there across the back of the house and then up to the garden, and then from here around to the chicken coop. So I'd say 75 to 100 more T-posts to put in. Gonna have to send that gas T-post driver back $400, and it doesn't work. So that's the way it goes. Well, I'm gonna get back to work on her car. I'm gonna change all 6 of the injectors. I think it was only $40. We found all 6 of them on the internet. So I hope hopefully they'll be quality enough to last. This has got 200,000 miles on it. I just want to get a few more miles out of it. And if we get, you know, every mile we get out of it's a blessing, because we didn't hardly pay anything for it, so we're just keeping it on the road. So this intake has got to come off. That's what I'm going to work on now. Get the injectors installed and then start putting it all back together. I appreciate everybody watching, and I appreciate everybody watching and keeping in mind that this is about the harvest, and coming and growing together is what it's all about. Thank you. Okay, we're on Sweet Ingrid's Envoy, and I took the intake manifold off and I put it back on, and I want to show you the secret to this manifold. It's this pipe right here, and you notice that this clamp has a little tiny catch right there. That little tiny catch. If you have to get that little catch into there, and then this clamp will slide off. So when you put this hose back in there, goes in there like this, you push this down, and then you just snap it. You just lift that up, and it unsnaps and tightens. There is a bolt underneath of this hose on that intake manifold right here. Right here. This is where the pipe goes. It goes right there, and it runs down to here, right over here. And there's a bolt underneath of it. Okay, and of course you take the alternator off to get the bolt in front, and then there's two, and then there's one, and then there's two, which is where the pipe is, then one, and then two, and then one in the back. Now the one in the back, you have to have the right tools to get to it. A 1/4-inch swivel, a 1/4-inch swivel ratchet, and you can reach it from up top, or a really long extension coming out through the wheel well. Take the tire off and you can run a long 1/4-inch swivel number 10 metric and get that last bolt out of the back over there. Okay, it's ready to go back together. I'm going to put the let me show you over here. I'm going to put misplaced. There it is. Okay, over here. Okay, so I'm going to put this plate back on first, and this plate is in there like this, and there's a number 10 nut right there, and then of course you'll see these two, and then the computer slides on there like this, and then of course the electrical system plugs back into here. The throttle body, I cleaned it all up. It's really simple. It's just four bolts, number 10 right there. It's all clean inside. These are the old injectors. I changed all of them. That's the alternator. We'll put that back on. Okay. We'll wrap it up in a few minutes. Thanks for watching.